Hello my friends, and as you know, I do Taroscopes like on the shift between the signs. So 23rd, it's marking from Leo to Virgo. So before I start for all the signs, I just want to wish Virgos happy birthdays and also give you a really quick intro what's going to consist in this. Just quickly before I start, I really want to thank to everybody for your patience last month. My dad is still at a hospital. He is going to be released this week, which most likely is going to be even more work for me. And so I really ask for your patience this month as well. It looks like next month I should have the new schedule packed down, so it's going to be easier. So without further ado, let me tell you how the reading is going to happen this month. I'm going to do pretty much what I did the last time, last month, but with a twist. We're going to start with a high-level messages from the top down, how the karma is looking at it, what is basically a big picture for you, what are the big messages. This is really important. This is like really teaching you how to fish instead of just giving you the fish. Then I am actually going to move into the tarot part of the reading. So we are going to do the double Celtic cross with the Rain Virtue cards and with my special cat cards. And we're going to see certainly spiritual kind of messages and kind of like what's going around, etc. That's kind of like level down from the top of the mountain. Then we are going to go even lower and we're going to get a little bit of a general reading to see what is happening. And Lenormand is really good tool to kind of like even give timelines. And then we are going to go down and dirty. We are going to use Gypsy and we're going to feel and see all these people around us. And this time I'm going to add a twist and to kind of like really culminate this. At some point in this reading, and I'm not going to tell you when, I'm going to include a question that you can ask yourself. So literally you can pause and ask yourself a question and I'll give you the answer and you'll be able to choose one of the three options, so that way you would really know that answer is catered for you. So there you go. It's a little bit of interactivity. So let me start. Hello my fellow Aquarians, and welcome to your September forecast. I have to say I'm really happy what I see, really happy. It is like appealing to my nature, and I hope it's going to appeal to your nature as well. So we are starting here with River, and River has this like subtext that is movement. So check this beautiful image of this kind of softened light from the sun that kind of like falls down on this kind of meandering river, and this kind of like serene movement of bliss. The river is really moving gently, right? It's also moving rapidly. It's also moving intensely. We kind of like when things in our lives are happening fast. We are air signs. We move fast. Still, at the same time, the river's movement, which is water after all, will always eventually land river into the ocean, right? So there is a path to follow, even though it's kind of a majestic journey. Sorry guys, must be something about this majestic journey. So where was I? Some of the water, I think, possibly will evaporate along the way, and it's going to go up to create the rain, which we also have. It's going to go up to create the clouds and the rain. So do you see this? What I'm just trying to tell you? It is everything. It is like 360 that we have here. So this is saying that maybe we had some blocks in our life, but we are going to start feeling better. Maybe we have been feeling disconnected. You know, the wire was somewhere out of the socket. So It is time to plug it in. It is time to kind of pay attention and to observe the flow. It's going to become easier to navigate our experiences and see what lies ahead. At least we're going to get some kind of sense of what is to come by. And this is going to be ever-changing geography and ever-changing cruise, and every single curve is going to be different, and it's going to be interesting and dangerous. But we are going to be resilient. We are really good at being resilient, aren't we? And whatever is hampering our ability to kind of like make choices is kind of going to be resolved. We will actually have to surrender and kind of like be almost grateful, because we still, after all, are alive. We still are putting one foot in front of another. We are the kings of our soul. So I think the message here is go with the flow. It is kind of really essential that we do this. So breathe, relax, and enjoy the ride. And then all this kind of little kind of like releases of evaporation that will go into the clouds are going to create these beautiful kind of formations. So these tiny droplets, right, are basically surrounded by billions of other droplets, or I don't know, crystals. Then we see the cloud. And they can actually diffuse and scatter. So top of the clouds are always white, and then they fade to gray toward the base, depending how heavy they are, right? So the nature of cloud formation, it's kind of affects our mood, also affects the temperature on the ground, and also the temperature in the air. So the shape and movement, coloration, it can tell us whether to expect rain or the sun in the near future. So I think this shape shifting that we see in clouds, it's going to be possibly seen in something we are famous for. We sometimes just redesign who we are. I think either subtle or completely dramatic, we might completely change the way we dress. We might change our hairstyle. We might change the jewelry we wear, even kind of like how we behave. Maybe we're going to sit in front of the mirror and just study how we are when we talk. What kind of messages do we really give to other people? Are we really conveying the message that we're really feeling deep inside? So when we kind of adjust all of these kind of things along with even our internal attitude, then we are going to be displaying a completely different personas. So I think this is going to be experimenting with this kind of self-expression. It's kind of like going with the flow and enjoying every curve. Well, this curve I see more shadow, and this curve, you know, this dress looks great. So we are going to literally see how people react back to us. It's depending on basically the degree in which our new persona contrasts with the one that maybe they're familiar with. We like to be changeable, don't we? This is like the air. You couldn't kind of think of more air than it is. So let's try to be like the clouds and try different forms and stretching our limits. We kind of like fell down in a hole, and it is time to get out, and get out like in a big way. So kind of lift your head up, square your shoulders, you know, like the mother tells you, stand tall, and open your heart and chest to the world and examine how it feels. Experiment also possibly by kind of contracting your aura. This is your energy field. And then close your eyes and think of which color comes to you. And then expand it as far as you comfortably can. This is the kind of shape-shifting that you can actually choose to give your expression in the world, and choose to give your energy much further than you ever thought you could. So guys, we need to play to get out our inner powers, because sometimes when we constrain everything inside, because we are the 11th sign, we almost like poison ourselves. It's like too many things bottled in a small little bottle. We have to let it out. And purification is the key as well. I think this kind of moment, going with the flow, but at the same time, kind of like rain is always the purifying factor, right? So remember, like how if you go for a walk after the rain, like the air smells really fresh and clean, and then we have this clean river and clean movement, and there is the nature going into the next circle. So purifying our mind, our body and spirit, it's kind of like not an easy task. I have to tell you, I have tried to be just positive for 1 week, and it feels like really, really hard, especially when you get a speeding ticket or a parking ticket. And okay, yeah, sure, yeah, that kind of universe meant that for me. You're trying to kind of like convince yourself, and you're doing a really kind of bad job, because it's kind of like no way of convincing it. So the truth is, kind of like focus on a bigger goal. So when this kind of like little kind of things come to knock you out, kind of like you deal with it differently. So I guess kind of like try to figure out what kind of prominent beliefs you carry that kind of is making you into who you are. Some kind of belief that for that belief you show up 100% of your time. And also purify your heart by allowing yourself to breathe in kind of like blessings and forgiveness, not so much to the others but to yourself, for good times and for bad times. We kind of like do wish the best for us, but you know, it is kind of like really, really important that we also include the others and kind of like reach that kind of like Aquarian love everybody. But I am not a big believer in just thinking positive. I'm actually a big believer in facing your own fears, because once when you do, they're not fears anymore. They're just vapor that shift to something else, something that is known. Because fear is, after all, something we don't know, and something, the outcome we don't want to have. So if we face and kind of play that little movie in our own head, kind of like the rivers of the tears and going back to the beginning, kind of like are going to heal the wounds in our soul. I also think this possibly talks about detoxing our body by changing our diet, and I think the diet is going to be a really big thing in September for Aquarians. Maybe a cleanse, maybe a fast for a few days. Simply maybe including more water, like lots of water. Never mind 8 glasses. Let's try with 16 glasses of water. Because increasing this daily amount of water we drink, right? Especially look at this, we have all this water vapor kind of like connection over here. It's going to revitalize us. It's going to give us this new energy. It's going to break down all this kind of like congestions and kind of like these little mucky parts that kind of like didn't flow through it. So it is the lifeblood that we need. So it is time to purify ourselves. It is time to kind of like be different. And then I got from this other deck like 3 more cards, and I was like, wow, is this even possible? How good can this reading be? So intensity is the first one that jumped out. So check this out. Turbo Aquarians. This will be the Knight of Wands. So you can see the figure in this card. It is kind of taking a shape of an arrow, right? So I'm going kind of slower here, but then we are going up and high, purifying, landing back, but then we are ready to roll. We are moving here so fast that we actually are becoming just completely pure energy. So don't think that this is going to turn us into some kind of like maniacs. We still will get from point A to point B, but we are going to get there with maximum speed, because we kind of released a whole bunch of things that were holding us back. We kind of reinvented ourselves. So the intensity we get, represented by the Knight of Fire, belongs to the basically vertical world of present moment. And you see how we see that vertical over here, right? Which is a recognition that this is the only moment you have, that is now. Planning for the future can create anxiety. Thinking about the past can create anxiety and fear. So if we act like this, we are going to create ripples in the waters around us. Some people around us may feel uplifted and refreshed by us, and some others will feel really threatened and annoyed. Now, this is very much connecting to me with this shape shifting, where we are going to kind of like play around with how do we really connect with the other people and what kind of like individual we are. And also is going to challenge to what other people really believe, right? Because those who believe are not religious. They're simply avoiding the great adventure of religion by believing. So this is a time to become speed. And then we got this major arcana, the Lovers. So this is kind of interesting. And I know we are so many times being kind of told so many things about it, because first of all, we do have a heart and we do have this hug here. But what is really love? What we call love is kind of like really a range of different kind of relating issues, right? Like on the most earthly level, it's a sexual attraction, right? Many people are just stuck there. Oh, I need him, or I need her. Oh my gosh, the touch, the kiss. Because you see, we are conditioned that sexuality is repressed. So hence, getting it from somebody, it feels so good. We are eating that forbidden fruit. However, the always everlasting issue is the sexual love that doesn't last. We need to accept that fact and kind of almost celebrate for what it is and say goodbye when we feel that this is time to let it go. When we become older, then we will begin to experience the love actually can exist beyond sexuality, and we can understand that the other person is actually different, and we don't really need to seek quote-unquote soulmate. We don't have to seek somebody who is just like us. We will actually begin to understand that our partner possibly often functions as a mirror and is reflecting unseen kind of aspects of who we are, and it's actually supporting us to become whole. So that love is based on freedom, and guess what the key word for Aquarians is? Freedom. Yeah, there is no expectation, there is no need. So this is basically the heart with the wings, if you can really look at it. This is meant to take us higher and higher toward the universal love. So we are supposed to purify ourselves. Did we become selfish? Did we get stubborn that we need to get a person? We belong to everybody, guys. Once we start belong to everybody, things start to happen for us. Sometimes we forget about that because of the programming. So it's starting slow, going faster, going rapid, and coming back to purify. We are going through the whole cycle this month. And then there is fighting. So this is the Knight of Air, or like Knight of Clouds in this particular deck. And it's kind of like really almost like comical figure if you really look at it. Let me try to steal the card. And I don't know, can you see this here? You see this fighting in the background? So he is completely covered, look at this, in armor, right? He is kind of raging from what we can see, right? You can see, look at the knuckles are completely white, right? So the armor also is covered with buttons. It's almost like they are push buttons. Remember what they say, don't push my buttons, right? So they're almost ready to detonate if anybody kind of like even kind of brushes up against this person. So this is kind of like in the background that we see this kind of like movie that maybe plays in this person's mind. It's the two kind of like figures fighting for basically this castle, right? So this is talking about an explosive temper, or possibly a smoldering rage. But you know what? Anger is just a different expression of pain. So sometimes we frighten people away just to be able to deal with our own pain. Sometimes it's just the opposite. So by covering our wounds with armor, we are sometimes preventing those wounds of being healed. And by lashing out at others, we keep ourselves from basically getting the love that actually belongs to us and getting the nourishment that we really need. If this description fits you, it is time to stop fighting. A lots of love is available if you just let it in. Again, the good start is by forgiving yourself. We guys are worth it. We really need to figure out the way to be back to who we are, claim it. And I think when we got this, the lovers, the love card, I think we have to start with loving ourselves. So I did shuffle cards, so I actually do have the tarot ready already. So let's see what is on the bottom of the deck. This one has trust. So what is the difference, and why do I do readings that are so extensive monthly? Yeah, it takes lots of time. I do have to tell you, it's a pain in the butt to do it. But I just couldn't find a way to do it shorter. So I still have to figure out how to satisfy you and also my time requirements. So when we are on the top of this mountain, we see the lay of the land really, really well, but it can be distant. So these cards in the very beginning kind of like give us this lay of the land, kind of like give us where we can aspire to go. Then with tarot, it's a little bit lower, where we can see some images clearer. It's a more of a spiritual guidance. It's more showing us what needs to be fine-tuned to make these extra few steps to get to the top. Then we'll go here, where kind of like we'll see things clearer, like really what is happening right now. And that's going to be the Lenormand kind of portion. And then we'll go down on the ground and we'll see all the emotions, all people through our gypsy spreads. So when I do bi-weeklies, I just do the ground level. I don't go really up because this is like quick and dirty, and this is how we can function these 2 weeks. But here in the monthlies, I include everything and kind of like glue it together, so that way you know which kind of buttons is good to kind of like prevent of detonating. And look at this month is asking us for trust. And I have a feeling this is possible, to trust ourselves. Over here, wow, we have nine of wands, 3 of swords, Queen of wands, and Ace of swords. Thinking and action, just like here, you see we have the fire and air, thinking and action. So it is like very prevalent. We are healing from something that happened. Something surprised us. It could be a person in the past, and it looks like it has been cut off. Either we cut it off or they cut it off, but it is kind of like time to move on. So it's time to stop this fighting. So let's see, what do we have here? Unrequited love. Give relationship a chance. It is safe for you to love. Codependency. It's in the past. Yay. Healing family issues. Getting to know each other. Forgiving and learning. Wow, that shape-shifting is happening really. And past life relationship in our environment. Deception. Shape-shifting again. Let your friends help you. Voila. Let's put this here and go here. Wow, codependency, codependency. Okay guys, we have been in a place that has been so painful that just by thinking about that place, we are still feeling enormous pressure on us. We are still feeling those ripples of events that happen. trust is hard for us. It's not that we are not trusting or that we don't want to trust. It is just like that we lost that path. Because I see here, and some of us walked away from codependency, or the situation basically happened that this codependency couldn't happen anymore. So this is like planting a seed and trying to figure out, where is this seed going to end up? Is it ever going to become this kind of tree, or is it going to stay on this level of this bush? So certainly when this kind of card is here, it's talking about wondering if, is it really worth it? Like, what do I go? What's up, Matrix? What's up, baby? Hey, what's up? This is like a visit from Matrix. That is very unusual, but obviously he is here to say hi. Hey, you wanna come and visit? Huh? Hi, sweetie? No, I think that was it. He just like managed to get the tripod disturbed and kind of like sidetracked me from my thought process. So okay, guys, the 7 always to me speaks like, okay, which path do I want to take? You know, it's like when you kind of like work on something and work on something and work on something, and sometimes you do get results, sometimes you don't get results, right? So this is basically telling me this is the decision time. Maybe some of us reach decision time, wondering how to proceed further. And I think most of us walked away from this, let's say, feeling of being stuck in some kind of situation where we're not supposed to be. It could have been that things were just no longer give and take, not in a proper way, that things have been disturbed. This also could talk about a third party. And it could mean that we maybe have been involved in a situation that it was like three's a crowd, and we hence walked away from it. This is interesting. Maybe we were in a situation with a person who actually was really great person for us. Maybe it was somebody who was a good listener. Maybe it was something we need to kind of experience. It's literally a soulmate material when I see King of Cups. I love King of Cups. King of Cups is somebody who really spends time to listen, especially for us Aquarians. We are so easily misunderstood. I mean, you can never please people, and I can tell you by having this channel for the same thing, I get accolades and I get, you know, harsh words. So it goes to show you have to be who you are. You have to ultimately follow your own path. And it comes to this kind of crossroads, it is only going to be one life that these crossroads are going to affect. So make it a good one. Maybe this is like the decision that we made, that kind of like we need to trust that by not trusting, we will never get this person who is giving, who is listening, who actually is that soft place to fall. Maybe we have to soften ourselves a little bit, and hence there is like somebody else, somebody new we are becoming. So hence that shape shifting, which is kind of like going from the rain up into kind of different dimension. Looks like we are seeking balance, and we are looking for the safety and what is lovable inside of us and what is lovable in the others. The Temperance card is always talking about unity of several things. In general, it talks about the stars have to align for things to happen. It talks about this alchemy where you kind of like meet earth and fire. Wow, look at this. It looks like we did the major repair on us. Major. Like the sun is shining. There is like some kind of clarity that has been reached, and maybe there is like no doubt in our mind in which direction we have to go. Knave of Swords is kind of like that gnawing feeling like, ugh, gosh, I just don't know if that's too much information. But nonetheless, it's information. We maybe receive this information through thinking deep, or maybe we receive this information through kind of like looking outside of ourselves. But we did, and we finally got it. So now, unrequited love, it was something from the past. This is puzzling us, which kind of like was lots of misunderstanding. It was lots of arguing. It didn't get anybody anywhere. Everybody lost. It's one of those situations that in the end you go like, why in the world did I really fight about this? What the heck happened? You see, but it's still not dead. It looks like it's still not buried. Death reversed. It's not a good place to be. It is something that is supposed to be dead, that is not buried. So imagine if you have a dead body still laying around. Maybe it serves you to get some kind of, you know, satisfaction of still kind of feeling connection to this person, but this body is rotting away, and the stench is not good, and it's becoming very, very unhealthy. So the situation was very unhealthy, and we are really well aware of that, because it did make us kind of get strong and get in control of our life, and kind of ask ourselves, like, what kind of person we really want to be. It could be the things that happened that made us not to be proud of who we are. Maybe this is why this all has to happen, this movement toward shape-shifting, toward purifying, that we can become much better person than we have been. We have to kind of go deep and kind of let go of things that actually are not things that we should be proud. And after all, give it a chance. You see, there are always secrets. Every person is a mystery on itself, and this is kind of like having this deeper ability to connect. And the High Priestess is kind of somebody who kind of like sees things not on a just skin deep level. She actually has X-ray vision. She's examining the soul, just like some people see a beautiful woman just because, I don't know, her hair or teeth or her body is beautiful. This person is going to look for a beautiful soul. And we have, this is calling for us to be independent. Seven of Wands is talking about, you see, like this whole intensity that kind of like we are called upon. It's keep repeating that fighting and intensity, but it has to be a balance. This talks about, look at how many people, naysayers, we have around. Hold your ground. We are still in a winning position, and we still have to kind of maintain this independent thought. We are wondering about coming back to something or somebody, or somebody's coming back. Or maybe this is kind of like these two things. Maybe some secrets are getting revealed. Maybe we are holding our ground about somebody who's coming back. Or it's going to be a discussion about somebody finally telling us something that needs to be heard. It says give your relationship a chance. So let's see. When the Knight of Pentacles shows up, so this is now the third night, right? We had 2 over here, we have 3, and then we have 4. Everybody's here. So this is talking about just everybody but Knight of Cups, which is the Knight in the shining armor. And this is the uncomfortable thing for us. It's an uncomfortable thing just to go and trust. So we need to heal. And I think the healing is sort of like a test. It's literally like kind of like do really earthy kind of things to do it. See, we have to figure out what are our rules. Do we really want to follow some kind of rules? Do we want to... You see, this can be a father, this can be a mother. It says your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. More than anything, I would say this is the father. Where, you know, there were some rules of the house. And these rules, maybe, remember how we had this crossroads? Kind of like didn't make us go and take the right turn when we wanted to take right turn. Instead, we were forced to do left. Well, parents do whatever their conditioning is, whatever their programming is, and try to push us in that direction because they think this is the best for us. Sometimes it's not best for us. And this, in fact, kind of like gave us some kind of delusionment, because maybe with the same issue we had to work with later in life. And that maybe is the that is the same issue that keep kind of blocking us of getting this soulmate kind of quality, of really jumping in, of really trusting, of really kind of like stretching our hand, our little paw over here. But we are certainly kind of like trying to kind of go into that, and it's going to be possible different approach to the situation that we are going to try to accomplish. We'll be very anxious if it comes to new dating. Getting to know each other with Nine of Swords is like that fidgety person on a date. It really sounds like us, right? It's like somebody with sweaty palms, and we are not really shy, but we are shy on the first date or third or second or fifth. until we finally say, okay, now I can tell you what I don't like. Where people don't understand, we tell them that because we actually like them and we want to tell them our deeper selves, and people go, ugh, you're so rude, how dare you. So this is like where it creates this kind of like huge anxiety and maybe completely misunderstood notion, and maybe this is what is keeping us of getting to that high level of kind of emotional security. But we need to feel secure. We need to feel there are no secrets. We need to feel comfortable. So these are the last phases of kind of working on ourselves. So this is like mental and emotional kind of like digging deep. And yeah, definitely guys, we will have to look for our own demons. We have to look what else is left there that we need to purify. And anxiety, I told you, it is about some expectation that we have, and we want certain things to happen in a certain way, and if it doesn't happen, we feel anxiety. Remember, river, go with the flow. And let's see, just see what happens. So you are brave enough to do that, right? Let's see what happens if you don't do anything. Let's see if people will surprise you. Because look, forgiving and learning. And guess which card we are getting here? There is this repeat of this fighting. It's a fierce fighting. Like, look at all these buttons that are so red and rusty are getting activated here. So we are letting everything resurface, everything that kind of like has been wronged. It says as you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. So it is really important to face your fears, to face everything. You see, this is a fear. It's a fear. Fear is like not inability to move forward. Look, feeling stuck. And then is the King of Swords coming out here. Look at how many swords we have, Knight and the King. So ultimately, we are going to get, remember the keyword that I told you for Aquarius is freedom? Well, this butterfly here means freedom. It means everything is frozen, but we are standing there, we survive, we are kind of connecting, and look at how very hardy we are. Against all these elements, we are still able to stand still and rule. This is talking about a fairness. This is talking about sometimes we feel wronged by someone, and we don't really realize that maybe we have skewed vision of what happened. Of course, we see only our side of the story. That's why we have courts, because there are always two people, each of them see their own way. So this is kind of reaching that level of clarity where we are able to shape shift in a direction of greater understanding. Environment. We are going to have a new soulmate coming toward us. A soulmate that we actually wished. Somebody who is going to be very soft. Somebody who is going to be very gentle. Somebody who really, really is a good listener. Be careful of some kind of sloppiness, because Eight of Pentacles talks about inability to create these steps, and it talks about the slow steps in going forward. Or it could be our wish is coming true. Beware what you wish for, because this Knight of Wands can be a manipulator. Knight of Wands can mean a person who is actually married, who is forgetting to tell us that, with whom you feel so happy, right? So that we feel this person is wish come true, until it turns out, well, wait a minute, we cannot build a future with this person. There are so many secrets, right? And this happiness, this future is not possible. However, past life relationship means somebody has chased us throughout all his lifetimes. And this is happening for a reason, because we have to go back on our path. And our path is clear. We have to kind of redefine who we are and feel this unity with everybody else. So we cannot be dedicated to just one person. Be careful. This person really, really can be very, very convincing. He can appear to be Knight of Cups and then shift because we will be shifting and giving this different kind of things, and because we are so open-minded, people think that everything goes well. We are actually not made out of stone. Stone is like maybe under our feet, but we are still flesh and blood, and we still can feel and do feel pain, contrary to the popular opinion, right? The Devil card is basically the other side of the Lovers card, which we got here. So as much as here, that was my little kind of spiel about this universal unity and this freedom and the light and kind of hugging and getting the wings of the universal love. This is talking about, you see, these two things are connected to codependency, is like feeling chained, feeling you have to. I have to be with him. I have to because of the kids. Oh, I have to because of the finances. Oh, poor me, I just have to do that. No, you don't have to. This talks about we are willing, capable, and it's a must that we actually release ourselves from these chains. It is kind of going to be difficult because we all keep these masks and we all present ourselves. Remember what I said, talk to a mirror, see how we actually come across. Because look at this, 10 of Pentacles reversed, and we had here 10 of, where the heck was, like 10 of Cups reversed. It's for, especially for those of you who have been dealing with a breakup, who are still maybe connected on some level with somebody who may have been a soulmate, who may have almost promised a marriage. Maybe something came like that far, because look, the healing is taking place, but the healing is going in a good direction. Look, the 2/10, things are moving in a good direction, and there is no way back. This is the purification. This is the purification that is happening, because we are getting balanced and we are kind of like getting, you see, in tune with who we are. Let your friends help you. We are getting emotionally balanced. So we finally are going to realize who are fake creatures on our path and who are the right one. So these two guys are actually forming a couple. You see, the things happen when we are purified. We get a purified, actually, counterpart. King of Pentacles, like some of us are getting out of relationship, getting divorced, and for the others it could mean that somebody again married, like it's a theme. Maybe we are being challenged. That's a codependency. Codependency is literally being attracted to things that are not good for us, and then life keeps presenting us with the same scenario one after another. There's this gorgeous guy, he just like falls deeply for us, but we just don't realize that he's a broken, like, I mean, bird with a broken wing, and we are kind of like healing them and pushing them forward, and they fly away, and then we are left to be sorry. Instead, maybe we should be happy that we are able to do it, and trust enough, not to them but to us, that we can, okay, we can withhold that emotion, and we are ready for anything. With every person you have to be ready for everything. So for these letdowns or non-letdowns, because ultimately, look at this, let your friends help you, looking things from a different position. The Hangman is a really good card. Generally, some people say this is the card of God. It means, okay, I'm looking at it, things will happen at the right time in the right place, which we know coming to this month. The sun will shine again. We just have to let chip fall. And this is like almost like saying to me, give them the rope, they're going to hang themselves. And we always ask and trust our friends to give us the honest feedback. So I do see a whole bunch of signs, guys, here, and when I see so many signs, they become irrelevant, right? I will tell you, because some of you are interested into this. I do see Pisces, I see Leo, I see Sagittarius, of course I see another Aquarius, I see Capricorn and Taurus. But as you see, they come from all kind of different flavors, which means that we'll be dealing with a whole bunch of different kind of like emotions. So the next part, it's going to be answering your question. So guys, while you're putting these cards together, think of a question you want to receive the answer for. And I have already pulled cards from the other decks, but I need this deck as well to get this third kind of like option for you to have your answer. So you are actually going to be the captain of your soul over here. So it's going to be door number 1. This is going to be door number 2. And here, let me see what's going to be the answer for the number 2. I have to hide it away from you because if it comes face up, I don't want you to see the answers. Okay, so the answer for Aquarians for September to the questions that they are asking. Answer for Aquarians. All right. Did you pick which pile you want? Okay, so for those of you who picked number 1, we have tons of things here. 3 of Swords, reversed. 8 of Swords. King of Wands. The Tower reversed. 8 of Cups and 8 of Wands. Okay, so what does this mean? It talks about that pain. Possible there was a third person. Kind of like you guys didn't know what to do in this situation, and it kind of like rendered you kind of like helpless. Felt really outraged, and it really went like, I mean, crazy on this person to a point that everything collapsed, but it hasn't been rebuilt. It's kind of like somebody walked away. Must be something better. This is horrible. It just cannot work. Somebody made maybe this decision for us, but the same person might be actually getting in touch with us. Be careful. All the ones are up in the air. You didn't know what happened. Certain things have to be renegotiated because you have 8, 8, and 8. There are 3 8s. The 4th one is missing. Which one is missing? 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is something that we had in our reading as reversed, something that is not being built. So can this be built? That's a big question. For those of you who picked the door number 2, you have the Strength reversed. This is an interesting card. If your question was about somebody committing, they are not going to commit because it is reversed. This also could mean feeling kind of weak. This also means not having enough of the inner strength to resist somebody. This also could mean still dealing with this codependency and still healing. So guys, if this is coming as an answer to you, you really have to go through all these stages, because ultimately you have to go to this universal feeling of it. Because if you continue with this question, you're going to end up getting your buttons pushed here as well, and you won't be able to activate yourself. And for those of you who picked the door number 3, 7 of Swords, be very careful of sneaky behavior. This is like, look, mice are partying while cats are sleeping. Somebody taking things under your nose. Somebody taking you for granted. Somebody really taking things that belong to you. This is not a good card. To me, when I see this card, is a card of betrayal. Whenever I see this card, I have to tell you, whatever you wanted, walk away from it. It is really not good for you. So guys, next I'm going to do the Lenormand. With Lenormand, as I told you, we are going to go a little bit lower on this kind of like mountain, and we're going to see a little bit more of a kind of general lay of the land. So I'll click back in a second. Okay, I'm back, and guys, how this works is via significators. So in this particular divination cartomancy method, we have the lady, we have the gentleman. There are a few other cards that can also signify people, but these are the 2 main cards. One is you, one is the person of interest. So don't get hung up on which gender is you and which gender is somebody else. So I'm going to give you a few things that I see over here, a few storylines, and we'll go from there. Again, I see, look, the very first card that showed up is the Crossroad. you kind of took the crossroads in the past. Something was karmic. Something kind of like didn't feel like home anymore. Some of you may even change the kind of jobs that you do. You see, something had to be buried. Something that hasn't been working anymore in order to start fresh. It cannot be bigger contrast than having the coffin on one side and the writer on the other side. And look, this is moving toward love. And we have the stars and the moon here. And the love. Child means something new, but something that is new, being born from something that already existed, something that has been familiar, something that maybe has been brewing in for a while. Some of you are thinking about somebody from the past, and those crossroads depended on this person. However, there were too many secrets, and those secrets were not creating a healthy relationship. This person, however, thought really highly of you, I do have to tell you. To that person, you were the healing source. So you came to this life of this person to put them back on their karmic path, to show them the light. This is the purpose of Aquarians. We opened up people. Sometimes you have to take the big chisel and a hammer to kind of crack all these layers of ice, or the bricks and everything, but we do that, and that's why we are connected with tornadoes and with towers and stuff like that. So for some of you, the new way of life started a while back. Commitment to something that you really believe in, maybe some kind of entrepreneurial kind of endeavors, something that actually really makes you shine, and something that you're really, really happy with and you want to continue. Some of you are trying to still think about committing and are able to kind of like look forward. So we have the ring, the stork, and the anchor over here in between the gentleman and the lady who are knighting each other. So if that was a person from your past, which I think it was, and I think this person here stems all the way back to the winter in the Northern Hemisphere, so December, November 2016. But there were secrets about this person. The person, or the secrets, when the book opened of secrets, the things that came out were not satisfactory, and hence kind of like it was this moving on, which I've seen in tarot as well, right? This person could be somebody who is far away. It could be a long distance relationship, or it could be somebody you met during your travels. But definitely look, what is crossing in between you and this person is this mountain and the coffin. So it's saying, remember, mountain in this particular deck talks about having difficult problems, wondering if these problems are surmountable, if you're going to find a key, if you're going to be able to travel toward a solution. In this particular case, the ship is traveling back. Can you see the ship put in the anchor down with this person, because this person is like kind of like knighting this, and this particular person actually does carry a certain amount of happiness that we experienced. But you see, the mountain, we also had over here in this card, we had kind of the river that kind of like swirls around the mountains, and it's obviously finding this way around it. We, if we look into this card, see the same things. So we maybe don't have to go head on with this. Maybe this is like that kind of reconfiguring what is the key to that issue. Maybe this coffin means burying certain enormous issues. Maybe it means it's going to be a definite end and a new start. The garden definitely can tell me about dating. the fox can talk about something sneaky or something. Some of us might be changing our home very soon. I know we are not planning. I'm not planning, but it could be as soon as like within a year. A major change. Something that we're going to love. We guys are going into really good love affairs. We are walking in there before our birthdays. It's going to be happening in a big ways. Believe it or not, it could be with a person from the past. That person from the past is actually getting to, you know how some of you had this like sneaky card as the answer? You see, this is what we still feel. This is the trust that is blocking us, and maybe our ability to open up has to kind of like, you know, be there before we can move forward. But we are going to have some kind of renewed communication. We are going to start dating. We are going to start feeling that attractiveness and sexuality, right? But take care of your own health. It is really important. It's really important to kind of ground ourselves. You see, this is again talking about the shape shifting again that I see over here. Where are the clouds here? Where did the look at in between us and this person? So some shape shifting is going to happen, because look at this. Certain change, certain way you look at a cloud. You know how you lie down on the grass and you look up at the clouds, and one person says, well, look at it, I see a sheep. Another person says, well, what are you talking about? I see an angel. So it's maybe the matter of perspective that maybe has to be reached. And certainly the clouds have to be lifted, and the clouds are on top of this mountain. And the key to solution, whatever I thought it was the key, is not the key to that solution. Something else is the key. Now the good news is here, in one of the spots, it's very karmic. It's kind of like, kind of still dealing with this mistrust, and still looking back. But there's another path here that talks about the garden, the rider, the bear, the heart, the child, the moon, the clover. Like the stars are lining up. Reputation is there. Love is there. So somebody from the past is happening, but it's something fresh. It's something new. And it could be also that it could be just our commitment to our work and our loyalty to our new selves, because the rider is a really powerful new beginning, and it's like right here next to love, right? So in the stars is this reputation and huge communication. This is like, I mean, lots of dating. Just don't be the smart aleck over here. Again, remember this fighter over here? You have to kind of release all these buttons, get rid of them through the purification. And that's why we got the Lover's card. The love is definitely in our cards, not the universal one. Yes, that starts with universal one, and that we have to kind of bury certain expectations. When we do that, all of a sudden all the roads are opening, because this new beginning is also healing. So let me put down the gypsy cards, all 52 cards. So we're going to have grand tableau there as well, and we're going to see really down and dirty all this kind of people and all the emotions. And I'll click back as soon as the cards are back on the table.